After Garrison's passing, Sister Wives Kody Brown could finally realize how bad Robyn is for him. Sister Wives patriarch Kody Brown has been struggling in the aftermath of losing his son, Garrison Brown, but the tragedy could finally push him to see how much Robyn Brown has impacted his life in a negative way. Throughout Sister Wives Season 19, Robyn has been a tough piece of the puzzle for Kody to place. While their relationship has appeared to be a support for Kody as he's moved through some difficult times, Robyn's had a tough time processing the situation unfolding within the family. After Kody's original trio of wives left the family, things have been more difficult. With Kody's marriages to Cristin Brown, Janelle Brown, and Mary Brown ending after roughly 30 years, Robyn was left as the only remaining wife in the one-time plural marriage. Despite knowing that she wanted to be in plural marriage when marrying Kody, her love for Kody and her investment in her relationship made it clear that she'd be open to monogamy, even if it wasn't her dream. Kody's big emotions surrounding his divorces were magnified even further by the fact that his children were struggling through their relationships with their father, and Robyn's input wasn't helpful regardless of her intentions. Although Robyn has long been the wife in the mix who felt she was able to read Kody the best, her behavior hasn't been up to par throughout the trauma of losing Garrison. Robyn's been shown to be heartbroken and there for her kids, but she hasn't seemed to be living up to supporting the pain that Kody's feeling. Robyn and Kody's marriage has long been one that seems to be beneficial to one spouse more than the other at any given time. There have been moments Robyn's able to calm Kody and other moments when Kody's supportive of Robyn. Even so, it's been tough to see Robyn's lack of support and concern for Kody in this difficult moment. As the family has been coming together to mourn and find their way forward, Robyn's been doing a lot to make Garrison's passing more of a her-based issue and putting the grief on her children rather than recognizing how difficult Kody's taking his son's tragic death. While Robyn may have been more supportive off-camera, the way she's behaved on camera has been concerning to see, with the rest of the family being deeply open and supportive of their difficult feelings. Although Robyn's only been shown partially throughout the episodes revolving around Garrison and his passing, she's been showing her grief in a very different way than the rest of the Brown family. After dealing with incredibly difficult emotions surrounding Kody's adult kids in the past, it's clear that the pain of losing Garrison was likely mixed with some other tough feelings for Robyn, which could have made things tough when expressing herself on screen. Regardless, the way Robyn's been acting has come off like it's disrespectful to the rest of the family, especially Kody in the most recent Sister Wives episodes. Although Sister Wives Season 19 has shown Kody and Robyn's marriage in moments of strength, it's clear that things aren't as good as they appear on screen. It's been noticeable throughout the last episodes of the series that Kody, having suffered imaginable loss, has changed the way he's reacting to everything, including his relationship with Robyn. Hoping to move forward with a new outlook, Kody may finally notice how difficult Robyn's been to deal with over the last several years. Making things more about herself may hint to Kody that he needs to make some big changes on Sister Wives. The stillness of the desert morning hadn't felt this heavy in years. A gentle wind rustled through the creosote bushes, whispering truths that had long been ignored. Kody Brown stood alone on the porch of his Flagstaff home, eyes staring blankly across the horizon, but his mind was thousands of miles away, trapped in the past, in the moments he would never get back, in the loss of a son who'd grown up while he wasn't paying attention. Garrison was gone. The ache in Kody's chest had started as a seed of disbelief. But as the family gathered, fractured and worn, the reality hit harder than any betrayal ever had. Each hug from Janelle, each tear from Gabe, each silent look from Cristin. It all pointed to one unshakable truth. Something had gone terribly wrong, not just in the tragic loss of a son, but in the years that led up to it. For so long, Kody had lived under the illusion that keeping Robyn close, protecting her at all costs, was protecting the family. That she was the one who saw him, the one who obeyed, the one who didn't challenge. But now, with a sharp clarity that only grief can bring, Kody was beginning to realize that Robyn had been the wedge, not the glue. He thought back to the early days with Janelle, stoic, practical, loyal Janelle. How she had raised Garrison and the other boys with strength, independence, and quiet pride. She wasn't theatrical like Robyn. She didn't require endless reassurance or manipulation cloaked in tears. Janelle simply loved her children, and she gave them room to grow. But when COVID hit, and Robyn's fear morphed into paranoia, the rules changed. Kody became enforcer, not father. He laid down the mandates she suggested, skipping birthdays, ignoring texts, distancing himself emotionally and physically from the rest of the family. Garrison had been vocal. Garrison had rebelled, and instead of listening to his son, Kody had listened to Robyn. "She's just afraid," Robyn would whisper. "She wants to keep everyone safe." But safe had come at a cost. The cost of relationships, the cost of trust, the cost, maybe, of Garrison's peace of mind. At the memorial, Kody had watched as Robyn stood slightly behind him, clutching her tissue, her expression more of discomfort than devastation. She barely knew Garrison. She hadn't tried. And when the other wives looked at her with cold, assessing eyes, it was as though they too were finally done pretending. Cristin, ever brave, had stood next to David Woolley, her new husband, and spoken gently about Garrison's laugh, his passion for animals, the way he could light up a room without trying. Her words cut Kody to the core, not because they were untrue, but because he had missed so much of it. And why? To placate Robyn. After the service, Kody sat in his car for nearly an hour. Robyn had already gone home. She hadn't said much. She rarely did when the focus wasn't on her. He remembered the way she would cry after every tense family meeting, how the tears would fall not from true sadness, but from a need to redirect the narrative. Somehow, Kody always ended up comforting her, apologizing to her, choosing her. Now he wondered, how had he been so blind? That night, for the first time in years, Kody picked up the phone and called Mary. She answered with hesitation. He could hear the strain in her voice, the years of distance etched into every syllable. Still, they talked about Garrison, about old times, about regrets. Not once did she bring up Robyn. She didn't have to. The next day, he called Janelle. Her voice cracked when she answered. There was no pretense, no performance, just raw emotion. "He needed you, Kody," she said. "He really needed you." The words gutted him because he knew they were true. Alone in his home with Robyn, Kody began to see just how small his world had become. Her children were around, yes, but the energy was different. There was no challenge, no growth, no spark. Just obedience, and it struck him how much he had confused that with peace. Robyn didn't like conflict. But instead of diffusing it, she simply eliminated the people who caused it from her version of family, at least. She had watched as Kody severed ties with his other wives, and she hadn't stopped him. If anything, she'd handed him the scissors. Now those cuts were bleeding, and no amount of her placating whispers could stop the hemorrhaging. In the following weeks, Kody found himself driving more. Sometimes to Cristin's area just to drop off something for Truly. Sometimes to see Janelle, unannounced, to sit in silence or cry together. Each visit felt like opening a long locked door. Behind them were not just memories, but truths he hadn't been ready to face. He began journaling, something he hadn't done since his early plural marriage days. And what spilled onto the pages was brutal. His realization that Robyn's version of family was one of control and protection, not trust and inclusion. That his own weakness, his hunger to be adored, validated, had allowed her influence to steer him off course. Kody began to ask himself hard questions. Would he have pushed Garrison away if Robyn hadn't framed his behavior as dangerous? Would he have abandoned family traditions if Robyn hadn't insisted they weren't safe? Would he have ignored his son's cries for attention if he hadn't been so fixated on preserving his image with her? One night, as he sat on the porch again, the stars stretched above him like silent witnesses. He whispered into the night, "I'm sorry, son." The words didn't fix anything, but they were a start. Behind him, Robyn appeared in the doorway. "Come inside, it's getting cold," she said softly. But Kody didn't move. He looked at her, really looked, and for the first time in years, he didn't feel pulled to follow. Instead, he felt a stirring of something unfamiliar, freedom. Maybe, just maybe, this loss would open his eyes. Maybe he would stop confusing loyalty to Robyn with love for his whole family. Maybe the road to healing wouldn't lead back into her arms, but away from them. Garrison was gone, but the message he left behind was louder than any argument ever had been.